Welcome to the Metal Pit.
Into the program, Tony. How you doing tonight?
Doing really good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. A little warm where I'm at, but not too bad. I'm in Vermont, believe it or not.
Be grateful it's warm in Vermont, dude, because you don't hear that very often.
No, that is
Good
very
Lord,
true.
I've froze out there before. Good Lord.
Good times. You got latest single out, Up in Smoke. Your new album, Slay the Dragon, coming out this September. You're going to be the band's sixth full length. Love the video, love the song, Up in Smoke. Good stuff. I got to me, like a psychedelic kind of vibe.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about that song, how it came about.
If you know anything about psychedelic, I've been to the jungle like 3 times now doing ayahuasca, which isn't really exactly a psychedelic, but it takes you to the other fucking side and gives you immense spiritual healing. But Up in Smoke is about, of course, a medicine-inspired song as well. It's heavy on the drums and the rhythm. I love the rhythm of that song, man. It's just so driving. And toms remind me a lot of like Indian-esque, indigenous. The toms bring the war faith. But lyrically, that song is about trying to stay in the moment. Like I tell my kids, it's called the present because if you can stay in the moment, it's a gift. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not Gandhi or anything, but I do practice just like I practice yoga and I practice music and vocals. Like I practice staying in the moment. So Up in Smoke is primarily about that.
Yeah. The word that just came to mind that just barely popped in my head when you were talking about the rhythm and the toms and everything, that song was like juggernaut. That's a juggernaut of a song. You just get rolling with that thing. And the next thing you know, you're just flowing.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Absolutely. The other tune you put out, and I love the story behind this. You got it from an episode of Sanford and Son, my grandfather's favorite show, Mississippi Moonhound.
Man, I fucking love that song. It's so dry, and it's like I come from the school of punk rock as a kid. Like I always say, we're punk rock mixed with fucking hard rock. But that song's just so great and so fun to sing, and I love the lyrics. And yeah, it was influenced by Fred G. Sanford. So the G stands for good golly, Miss Molly. Yeah, I love that song. And Sanford and Son, dude, I've been watching. I don't really watch TV, but if I do, it's that and one other thing. So
yeah. Oh Lord, here comes the big one, right? Oh, good stuff. What other type of stuff? How many tracks in all are on Slay the Dragon? Because I've only heard these 2 tracks.
Yeah, there's 12 originals. So yeah, there's a few that's out. Hey, Mr. Superstar, we released a few months ago.
Okay.
That's on the Slay the Dragon record, and that's inspired partly by Josie from Saliva, who's my good friend for many years. But his son died, and Cody, who I knew when he was a little boy, and he died from COVID, and he was 29 when he passed away. But whatchamacallit, Josie played his first hometown gig because he stepped away from music for a while to save his life primarily. And when he did come back and play his first gig in Memphis, I went because it was a triumphant moment, for him and all of us. On stage, bro, he said, I got knocked off the horse and I had to get up and dust myself off and get back up on the horse. And this man, I thought to myself, just lost his son. So I have nothing to complain about today. And I love that guy so much. But so that's Hey, Mr. Superstar. And then Horns and Halos is another one we released, which I wrote with Paul Crosby, who's our manager, who, of course, was the drummer in Saliva, the real Saliva, that is. But
yeah, cool stuff. Great stuff. Excellent stuff. And your producer, Chris Johnson, you do some writing with him as well?
Yeah, it's my last writing partner on the Back to Momo record. That's the record before Letters from the Psych Ward.
Yeah.
So I wrote that record with Todd Youth, and Todd was in a bunch of shit, like a lot of hardcore stuff, Warzone, Murphy's Law. He was in Danzig and Degeneration. I always say he played with everyone from Glenn Danzig to Glenn Campbell.
Oh,
because he did, but whatchamacallit, he died. But me and him, we had this amazing writing chemistry, bro. You know what I mean? That was like, and when he died, because I don't know if you know the history of our band, but like our first record, After the Morning, was written about Bianca. There's a lot of history there, but anyway, when I forgot the fuck what I was gonna say now. Where were we at?
Your first album, After the Morning, you mentioned Bianca. Is that from Betty Blowtorch? Yeah.
But so me and Todd, we wrote the Back to Momo record. It's such a great record. And he was a great writing partner and my friend for a long time. And we had a special relationship, basically. But after he died, I couldn't find a writing partner. That's like trying to find a wife. And I was just like, Chris, why don't me and you write it? Because he's been Blacklist Union member number 6 since the beginning.
Yeah.
So we wrote the Letters from the Psych Ward record, and we wrote the new Slay the Dragon record. We have an amazing writing relationship. I'm so blessed to have that with him because I was like, who knows my voice and our sound better than our producer?
Right. It's hard enough to find one person that you got a relationship with writing. Now you've been lucky enough to find two. Lightning struck twice for you.
I do write all the lyrics and melodies. Todd, when we wrote the Back to Momo record, he was auditioning for Guns N' Roses and he rehearsed with them a bunch. And then DJ Ashba got the spot, but he had wrote, that's before Slash and Duff came back.
Yeah.
Todd had written a song for Axl that Axl didn't want. And then when me and Todd were writing the Back to Momo record, he was like, yo, you want to hear this song I wrote for Axl? He didn't want it. I was like, yeah. So that fucking became Evil Eye. I wrote the lyrics and melodies for Evil Eye, but that's on the Momo record. But I love that record. And then Psych Ward, I'm really proud of. And then Slay the Dragon's an amazing record too. There's 12 originals on there. And I'm really excited for people to hear it.
Very cool. I read you formed this band to do the music that you always wanted to hear.
Basically, my fucking biggest influences were Warrior Soul and Mother Love Bone. Do you know who they are?
I've been waiting to talk to you about Mother Love Bone. Yeah, I'm leading up to that. Definitely. And Warrior Soul I'm familiar with.
Yeah, I just love it. So that Warrior Soul has so much punk rock and like deep lyrics. You know, like they're deep rooted in punk rock. Corey is for sure, I know. And Love Bone was just like the magical like Zeppelin vibe. You know what I'm saying? But for me, especially vocally as an artist, Andy Wood, of course, and Corey Clark are huge influences on me. I'm growing up and a couple of artists that don't get mentioned a lot because people don't know. A lot of people still don't know about them, and they're brilliant.
Absolutely. Let's go back a little bit. I saw a quote from you. You knew at 5 you wanted to be in rock and roll. You wanted to be a singer. Your uncle had a poster, and you asked him, "Who's that good-looking girl up there?" And it was David Bowie.
Sure.
Yeah, and that just set you on your path.
Pretty much. I remember that just being a defining moment where I was like, I want to do what that guy's doing. Oh, and then I remember as a kid, like being introduced to the Ramones. Like I grew up in New York City, and the fucking Ramones are huge for me, dude. And a lot of punk rock. Like GBH is one of my favorite bands, you know, man. And Turbo Negro is one of my favorite bands. But we're rock and roll, man.
Yeah, that was the other thing. You were born in the Bronx, went to high school in Yonkers. You moved to LA like early teens, right? 13 or so.
19.
19.
Hold on a second, bro, will you?
Yeah, no problem.
Guy outside, look. I'm on an interview. Can you not do that right now? Don't do it today. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. Thank you, bro. Did you hear that ruckus?
I could hear a tiny bit, but not a lot. My dogs will probably start barking at one point.
He's out there with a fucking leaf blower and shit. There's no leaves. It's the middle of summer. Fucking.
Right.
I couldn't get his attention, and I startled the dude. And I was like, "Can you please not do that right now?"
I read that you also tried Memphis for a little while in '98. Was that just an experiment, or?
So I've been in and out of Memphis for a long time, and that's how I know the Saliva family so deeply, because I was there in the beginning. Paul Crosby's first gig with Saliva, blah, 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 in 98. But my first wife, Tracy, she died from cancer. She was from Memphis, and that's how I got to know and meet the Saliva guys.
Okay. So
I was always in and out of Memphis, and the thing I love about Memphis, like Josie, again, he's the king of rock and roll in Memphis. So that's alive, at least.
Yeah.
There's so much rock and roll and history in Memphis. And I love the South too. Like I was born in New York. I've been living in LA forever, but I love the South. Like I love the food and I love the women, dude. That's first and foremost. I don't love the driving though, because there's a lot of reckless driving. I was just in Houston and it was like fucking gnarly.
Do you ever hang around Nashville much? A lot of rockers seem to be in Nashville, songwriting jobs, the players. You ever do much time there?
Yeah, I've been there a few times, and it's like everybody moved there, so things are more expensive there and all this. But I love LA, dude. I'm a Hollywood motherfucker, and I've been here for a while. And we're about putting Hollywood back on the map with some fucking kick-ass rock and roll, dude. That's what we're, because the records deliver, but live too, we deliver. And I always want, I strive for making it better than the record. I was just telling my bass player today that,
Mhm.
and I work hard at it. And I'm telling, like, I've been saying in interviews lately, one of the giants, we need them to give us a break, give us a direct support, like Angus from AC/DC, Six from Motley. If Joe and Steven get Aerosmith back together, or Buck Cherry, Steel Panther, we need some love, because we can go out there and kill and carry the fucking flag of rock and roll, man, because that's what it's about, dude. You know what I mean? So, and
Yes.
we bring it, is what I'm trying to say. We bring it, but things are happening in real time. Things are going really well. So
Do you have some live stuff lined up for once the album comes out, before a big release party, or tour
yeah,
after that, or anything?
we do two gigs in our hometown a year, and it's the Whiskey. And we'll do Bar Sinister. Bar
Hmm.
Sinister is like the last debaucherous Los Angeles fucking club
Right.
that's still cool and stuff, and where the people are just all over the spectrum, and it's fun. And but we're doing our record release there September 13th. I'm really excited about that. They always treat us good, and yeah, and then we're talking with a few bands about going on. I was chatting with Stevie D about it. We'd love to go on tour with Buck Cherry and Andrew Goodfriend. Like he's a fucking agent who he's been blowing me off for years, and we want to play some fucking dates and just to prove ourselves. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember because I get so much stuff thrown at me at once. Buck Cherry just put out an album, didn't they? Not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Buck Cherry. I was friends with Keith, the original guitar player, and I've known Stevie D forever. I love Josh. That's who I know. I know the bass player a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah.
He was in Goldfinger.
Okay. So now I'm going to lead into Mother Love Bone. I was beyond excited when I read how much you were into this and how you fronted Malfunktion for a while and stuff like that. I remember reading when that whole Seattle thing came out. I was into Pearl Jam, I was into Alice in Chains, then I read about Mother Love Bone. I think it was in Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And I bought the CD, and that thing spent about a year in my car, just nonstop, blown away.
Yeah. They are the holy grail of rock and roll to me and a lot of other people. And I have nothing but respect for Andrew Wood. I learned everything I fucking know to Andy Wood. And whatchamacallit, I showed up in Hollywood with a bag of shit, bro, a Love Bone cassette and $20.
Yeah.
Literally, and a
Wow.
dream. And years later, what happened was Mike Starr, who was my good friend from Alice, when he died, I did a set of Mother Love Bone songs, and I did a set of Alice in Chains songs. So Love Bone, Alice in Chains. And the tape got into Kevin Wood's hands. Now, Kevin Wood's Andy's brother, who
Mhm.
had Malfunction. And I was an Andy Wood fanatic for years as a kid. And whatchamacallit, I didn't even really know about Malfunction. And
Yeah.
so the tape got in his hands. He asked me to come jam one night. It was an event in Seattle for Mike, maybe. I forget, but I did a couple songs, and then they asked me to join the fucking band. So,
Dreams do come true.
yeah, and one night, so check it out. Like Tracy Guns told me once, if you don't have haters, you're nobody. People used to say, "Oh, you suck," this and that, and I worked really hard to become a fucking bring it, just to bring it. But that moment, singing in Seattle at all the camps, the Soundgarden camp, people from Nirvana camp, fucking Alice in Chains, Andy Wood's mother, bro. I took her out to lunch that day, and whatchamacallit, I was like, I couldn't even explain to you what your son did for me. Like, he saved my life. Like, he gave me a reason to live. How do you
Yeah.
convey that? So when we did the actual gig, I remember I had prayed on my knees before I walked on stage, and I said, please, God, don't let me make this about myself. Use me as a channel for Andy, for his friends, his family, his mother, his brother, his friends and fans. And don't let me make it about me. And I had the fucking most majestic night, dude. Like, any haters or anything. And internally, although my bank account might not say so, but internally, that was my swan song moment. Like, I didn't have anything to prove to myself anymore or anyone else for that matter. And like, I made it in my heart. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's also a thing. It's a thing. Like, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a beautiful moment with Andy Wood. And then, bro, I hate to say it, but I feel like I have way more love for Andy than his own brother. Things weren't very kosher. I actually quit my Heroes band because I feel I had more respect for him than people that were close to him. So I'll just leave it at that. But I had some beautiful moments. I got to sing in Malfunction in Hollywood, which was killer. I had a fight for that gig. But yeah, it was great and beautiful. And we were gonna do a record, dude. And I was gonna use because Kevin had a bunch of Andy's lyrics that were unused, dude. And I was holding them, dude. That
Oh,
shit, I mean, that's like gold to me. That's like Egyptian gold to me. So
yeah.
it was beautiful though. It was beautiful. And nothing but respect to Kevin Wood, but he's definitely married to a Yoko Ono, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Talk a little bit about. You mentioned you showed up out there in Hollywood, at 19 years old with a bag of shit and a Mother Love Bone cassette and $20. Talk a little bit about what kept you moving, what kept you driving, the
Dude,
what got you from there to here. Because you're
Dude,
truly like a self-made story.
truly, I swear, no bullshit. Like Mother Love Bone kept me alive for years. And just the dream of singing, dude. That's all I've wanted to do since I was 5 years old, since that moment with the Bowie post. It's all I ever wanted to fucking do. And that was it.
When you were in school, did you do like chorus or anything like that for singing, or singing any high school
No,
bands or?
so I'll tell you a story. When I was in like third grade or whatever, I remember I had gotten this part singing in a play, and I ran home and told my mom and uncle, and they were mean and stuff. And they're like, "You can't sing," And then I was like, "Oh, like I can't sing." And then I showed up for the audition. I remember I or I stood next to the door. They couldn't see me, but I was right next to the door, and I heard the teacher auditioning this kid playing the piano or whatever. And I remember having the thought, "I can't sing," because what my family told me, and I walked away. So I was always from that moment, I was intimidated for years to sing, but I got over that bullshit. And then I was taught myself by singing, dude, Sabbath, so much Sabbath. I could sing any motherfucking Sabbath song. But Ozzy, fucking God rest that motherfucker. So I just love Ozzy, dude. I cried.
Yeah,
But I studied Andy Wood. I studied Ozzy deep, and then Aerosmith, Bon Scott, Lane, of course. In Astbury is a huge influence on me.
yeah.
So
Now that you mentioned, I can see some of the Ian Astbury in the Up in Smoke video. I can see a little bit of
God,
that.
yeah, he was doing that shit when I was a kid in the '80s, and what the fuck? He's always been into it. When I saw the Cult a couple years ago here at the Greek, he said in between songs, he was like, "I want to thank Mother Ayahuasca." I was like, "Oh my God, what he just like?" I had no clue he was even hip to that. I should have known.
Yeah.
And then I seen him one time at this restaurant, and he was with my friend, and I was like, "Yo, who's your homeless friend with the braids?" And he was like, "What?" I'm like, "Who's your homeless friend with the braids?" And he goes, "That's Ian from the Cult." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
Oh my God, I've heard he can be a little surly. Ian
I
can.
don't know. I have nothing but respect for that guy because he helped shape my life, save my life. He's another one. Actually, I could sing the fuck out of that song. A lot of cult stuff. And I love he did a record too in the 90s called Holy Barbarians.
Yeah, great album. I've got it.
Yeah, yeah. It's on my, my shuffle. But
Yeah, killer stuff right there. I
yeah.
saw those guys a couple times. I saw them open for Billy Idol. Billy Idol. I saw them open for Metallica. Believe it or not.
I had a
And
great story about Billy Idol. My friend, first gig, fucking playing with Billy Idol, right?
yeah,
Billy Idol fucking run the White Wedding. They're starting White Wedding, and Billy Idol walks up to my friend. He's like all nervous and shit. And Billy's like, "What's the first words, mate?" And then my friend looked up real quick and said, "Hey, little sister." Because all you need is the first words as a
right.
singer. I swear to God, once you know the first word, there's been moments where I'm singing. I've seen the Ramones do this as a kid, but they would forget the words. But man, I won't remember the fucking word until the millisecond I'm supposed to remember it. I have so much fun playing, dude, too, and we deliver it live too. Like it's so much fun. I try to bring fun to it. We open up with Durango 95 by the Ramones, which they open every set with.
Sure.
It's just a music medley thing, but we cut it in half. We don't do it as long as they did.
Yeah.
Just to get props. Dee was my friend. Like I got to be friends with him because he moved to Hollywood. He died in Hollywood, and I knew him the last couple years of his life, Dee, and he was just a beautiful guy, dude. No rock star ego, like a sweet human.
Absolutely. I love the first line stories because this is no bullshit. Many years ago, I was working for a radio station and we had a St. Patty's Day party and there was a live band there that day. And it was a cover, just a cover band. They were pretty decent. And somehow I ended up on stage in between break and doing a giveaway or something. And I'm like, what are you going to get into? And they're like, we're going to do Walk This Way. And I'm like, oh, cool. And they're like, you want to sing it? And I'm like, yeah, I can sing it. And it goes into the lick. And I turned to the guitar player and I said the same thing. What's the first line?
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, Backstroke 11. I'm like, okay, I got it. I got it now. Crazy shit.
Then another, I could tell you a Dee Ramone story too.
Tell me.
Oh man, there's so many. Oh yeah, I was like, Dee, didn't you play with Gigi Allen once? Or didn't you play with Gigi Allen? I said to him, and he goes, Tony, when he started throwing the poop, it was a bit too much. And I was like, yeah.
You mentioned doing all these, learning to sing through all these songs and all these artists that have influenced you. Do you ever see you guys doing like a straight up covers record?
Man, I would love to. We try to do covers on every record. We've done a few. The last record we did, Devo, Gates of Steel, and Bowie, fucking Golden Years, and then we did Aerosmith's Mia. So Aerosmith's Mia, that was after my daughter, who was named after that, and I did it for her, and the videos about her and this and that. But the Devo and the Bowie cover, I had gone in and did it. DH Peligro from the Dead Kennedys, and Xander from the Circle Jerks. So we just went in to have fun and record a couple songs, and then DH died. I asked Xander if he was cool with me putting him on the record, and he said, of course. But
yeah.
But we had those on the last record, and then back to Momo, we covered Rock and Roll Outlaw by Rose Tattoo.
Okay. Wow. Cool. Good stuff. Got to ask you, in your time in New York, all these bands you mentioned, did you ever cross paths with Agnostic Front at all?
Yeah, dude. I roadied for them when I was a kid. And Todd Youth was in Agnostic Front. He was their first fucking bass player.
Okay.
And whatchamacallit. But yeah, and they just played out here. I was hanging with Stigma and their new guitar player, the other guy, I forget, Craig maybe, I think is his name.
Yeah. I got to chat with Vinny once a long time ago. Cool guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So we got the album coming out in September. You got a few gigs here and there lined up. What else going forward now for Blacklist Union?
Man, we did a tour with the Dead Boys last year. We just want to go back on the road. We did some dates with Texas Hippie Coalition. We did a couple dates with Josie Scott, my good friend from Saliva. So we're looking to go out with Texas Hippie Coalition again, or Buck Cherry, or any of the giants that want to give us a break. We'll bring it for you. And no, zero drama, just rock and fucking roll, kick ass rock and roll.
All right, cool. Been talking with Tony West, vocalist for Blacklist Union, their new album Slay the Dragon, coming out in September. It is killer stuff. Tony, before we go, I like to ask silly questions. I'm hoping these are questions you maybe have never been asked before.
All right.
Favorite topping for your pizza?
Favorite topping? Fuck. Onions.
Okay. Favorite superhero?
Wonder Woman.
Favorite villain?
Oh, Muttley the dog from the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Okay, yeah, great one. Favorite old school wrestler?
Man, maybe Andre the Giant.
Ooh, there's a good one. But last music you listen to other than your own?
Oh, fuck. I just played a Bowie song, that Bowie song that we covered for my girl I'm talking to.
Cool. If you could speak any other language instantly, what language would you pick?
Spanish.
First celebrity crush?
Debbie Harry.
Yeah, good one. If you could have a song off of Blacklist Union, not Blacklist, out of Slay the Dragon, placed in a TV show, what TV show would you pick?
Oh, man.
You could go with a rerun of Sanford and Son.
I was just going to say Mississippi Moonhound on Sanford and Son.
All right. Last one. This is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to play you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
What's that dude's name? Youngblood.
Oh, yeah. Man, did he freaking kill it at that Ozzy show or what?
Yeah, man. That whole Ozzy, God rest his soul. He was such a huge influence on me. I love him so much, dude. And I've had the fucking honor of meeting him a few times. And then he was so humble and kind and nice. And he, like Dee Ramone was the same way. Like, he was a beautiful soul and a king for sure. A king soul, dude. So God rest his soul.
Absolutely. Tony, best of luck going forward with everything. I hope the album gets out and gets rave reviews and killer stuff, and you get hooked up on a big tour. And, everything comes up roses for you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Take care.
Yes, sir. All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.